Okay. So, welcome to the third lecture, organic farming and its components. So, first two lectures we have discussed about the status of organic farming and what is organic farming in general. So, this lecture will discuss the different components of this organic farming. So, as we have discussed this organic farming, so I do not want to repeat same thing, because this is a biodiversity, biological cycle and soil biological activity. It means organic farming has largely exclude the use of synthetic inputs, that is fertilizers, pesticides, hormones or the feed additives, and the maximum extent feasible rely on crop rotations I discussed, crop residue, recycling and animal manure, because cow or the cattle, that is integral part of organic farming. So, for organic farmers, they must have cattle, so that they can make their on farm organic waste recycling and converting organic waste to valuable manures and fertilizer. This is how you can say the organic farming. So, if you see the components, so the vermicompost is an components of organic farming, manures, biofertilizer, animal husbandry and green leaf manuring, crop rotations and biological management. So, these are the major components of organic farming. So, green leaf manures or the crop rotations or the biological management. So, these are the management practices we follow, you go for the organic farming, but we have the components to keep the vermicompost, the manures, biofertilizers and animal husbandry are the integral part of organic agriculture or the organic farming systems. So, when you go for the organic the agricultural system that works harmony with nature, we want to work with nature, if you go organic farming. So, starting from your the land managements, you need the right soil cultivation at right time. So, this is equally applicable for the conventional farmers too, because you need the soil managements. The cultivation, there are different type of cultivation, you can go for the conventional tillage, we can go for the minimum tillage, we can go for the mulching. Usually when you go for the organic farming, we do avoid to go for the conventional tillage. The reason that if you go for the conventional tillage, because of the exposure of the soil particles to the atmosphere. So, there is a loss of carbon as carbon dioxide. So, minimum tillage, or we can say the mulch, organic the crop residue mulch tillage, where the stubble mulch tillage, we can say the crop residues should be left over on the soil surface. So, there is a special type of tillage implements, where the crop residue can be left over in the soil surface. So, they have the multiple advantages like increasing infiltration of rainwater into the soil, and that helps in minimizing evaporation loss of water from the soil, that increases the soil aeration, soil porosity. At the same time, because of the incorporation of the crop residue, it raises the fertility status of the soil and also increases the microbial population in the soil because of the less tillage operations. And once you have the good tillage, then you go for the water management. The water management is also one farming system integral part. We want to minimize the use of water as minimum as possible. If you see the rice crop we have a notional understanding that rice needs standing water. It is not true. Rice does not require standing water. It can grow well under saturation, and it can produce well better yield under saturation as compared to standing water. So, the water management has a role in organic farming. So, use the precise water, optimum water as need and the time of the need. Then as you discuss the good animal husbandry, that is a integral part of this organic farming. Using natural pesticides. So, that we will be discussing in classes, in other later classes, how we can prepare natural pesticides, because we in organic farming we avoid the use of the synthetic pesticides. So, using the cow manure or the outputs of the byproduct of the cow, how this can be used for this pesticide productions. Then recycle crop waste. So, that is very important in case of organic farming. We do not want to take out the crop waste from the after harvest from the field, because it is a we can take out only grain portions, and the rest portions straw material should be given back to the field as recycling crop waste. Green manures and legumes. So, this is one of the important aspects of the cropping systems when you go for the organic farming or the organic cropping systems. So, legumes should be there crops in case of cropping system, because by incorporating legumes or by having a legume crops in a cropping system, it can enhance the biological nitrogen fixation in the soil. It can enhance the fertility of the soils, and it also can minimize the nutrient requirement of the subsequent crops. So, that is why you say if you go for rice crops as a cereal crops, they need more amount of nitrogen. In that case, if you go for the green manuring crops, you can minimize the N requirement of the cereal crops to the extent of 50% or even more than 50% nutrient requirement can be minimized. Then increasing genetic diversity, that we are discussing previously, because in case of organic farming we do not want a monocropping systems or a single crop. We can have a different crops, many crops at a time, so that we can minimize the population of the pest and diseases in the field. Then of course, the use of resistant crops. So, we need to have the varieties, so the genetic improvement or the varieties which can have a resistance to many type of the insect, pest and disease. So, these are the some of the components of this organic farming. We discuss the components as you say the crop rotations. So, crop rotations, because we do not want to grow same crop year after year. So, grow crops of different families, like it is a systematic arrangement of the growing different crops in a more or less regular sequence on the same land, covering a period of 2 years or more as you go on growing, because this has an effect on the soil fertility management, weed, insect and disease control. If you grow same crops, then the same crops, the similar pest and disease, they do multiply. To avoid reduce the pest pressures or the disease pressures on the field, we need to change the crops after every seasons. Then as we discussed, legumes are essential in any rotations. We must keep one legume crops if we are going for the organic farming. So, in the rotations there should be one legume crop, so that it can build the soil fertility and it can minimize the nutrient requirement of any cereal crops or any crops taking especially nitrogen. As you see, we are concerned with the yield, how we can maintain the yield. And if you see for the yield or the production or the quantity, that is driven by mainly nitrogen followed by phosphorus and potash, these are macronutrients. And to protect the yield of the crop, we have to supply the required amount of nitrogen, phosphorus and potash. And to meet the nitrogen requirement, if you take legume crops, so legume crops do help in building the soil fertility and increasing the available nitrogen status in the soils. So, so that we can protect the yield, or we can attain the target yield of the crops in organic farming, having legumes in rotations. And the crop residue. So, as you say, so these are the give and take method. So, as you are growing the crops, as you are growing the crop in the field, so the soil has given some output. That output is your crop as straw materials and the grains. We can take the grains for our own consumption, but the straw or the crop residues, they should be turned back into the soil. They should be given back in the soil, so that it restores the soil fertility, it improves the soil biota, the living organisms. So, that like wheat and rice straws, or this can be, because some straws they need some fungal species inoculation, so that can be decomposed faster, having the high CN ratio. Those straw materials having low CN ratio like legume residues, so they decompose very quickly, but the straw residues CN ratio is 80 or higher. In that case, we have to inoculate with some fungal species, so that the decomposition becomes faster. So, that helps in improvement in physical chemical properties of soil. Then I have the organic manures as the part of this organic, integral part of the organic farming, because we need to have the own manures. You have the bulky organic manures like your farm yard manures. So, that is a well decomposed mixture of the cow dung, urine and farm litter, and leftover are the used crop materials from roughages or the fodder fed to the cattle. So, this is usually farmers earlier as we discussed. So, they are using only farm yard manures, and then later on you are using compost. The compost, any the kitchen waste from the vegetable refuse or the farm litters, weeds and the crop waste, they can be soil sludge also, they can be made composting by the anaerobic decomposition process. We can make the compost, and the green manuring as we are discussing now. So, that is one of the important aspects of organic farming, especially if you are growing for the cereal crops. They require the huge amount of nitrogen, especially organic farming, organic rice productions. So, before having the rice, you are going for the organics, we should go for the green manure crops, dhancha. By growing dhancha, like your the dhancha, sanem or the cowpea, barsim, these are green manure crops. So, they have the root and also stem nodulating dhancha as there. So, their nodulations, that by the way after 45 to 60 days they can be plowed back into the soil. By the way, they can add nutrients, especially nitrogen requirement of the crop can be minimized by growing dhancha, green manuring crops. Concentrated organic manure. So, as we are going for the organic way, we need to meet the nutrient requirement of the crops to protect the yield. So, to meet the nutrient requirement of the crops, we have to make the enriched organic manures like your the oil cakes, jatropha oil cakes, pongamia oil cakes or the cottonseed oil cakes. The oil cakes can be they have the rich in nitrogen, phosphorus, potash and many other nutrients. So, organic matter containing higher percentage essential plant nutrients such as nitrogen, phosphorus, potash as compared to bulky organic manures. This is concentrated one made from raw materials of the animals or the plant origins. So, these are the plant origins are the oil cakes, or the animal origins are the blood meals or the bone meals or the hoof meals. So, they are rich in the blood meals are rich in protein, nitrogen contents which can meet the requirement of the crop to a large extent. Bone meals or the hoof meals. So, these are the rich in your phosphorus, calcium and the magnesium contents. So, for meeting the requirement of the crop. So, these are the concentrated manures can be produced. And vermicompost, we will be dealing large extent vermicompost production. So, this is one of the integral part of the organic farming, whereby the earthworms they play major roles in decomposing the waste materials. So, they do earthworms, they do live, eat and excrete. So, they live in the soil also, they eat the biomass, they do the biomass and their excreta is rich in humus, and the excreta of the earthworms, the humus and many of the antibiotics as they act as insecticides and the pesticides, and also they have provide the many hormones that are required for the growth and development of the crops, and also they rich in many enzymes they are used in the crop production process. So, the common earthworm species there you see the Yersinia foetida or the Dendrobenus. There are many other species are there, where Yersinia foetida is very common. They can use in a wide range of temperatures, especially for tropical climates. Use the Yersinia foetida, they can survive from temperature around from 5 degrees Celsius to 45 degrees Celsius. And biofertilizer, as this biofertilizer, these are the living microorganisms, they are live or the or maybe cells of the nitrogen fixing, phosphate solubilizing and the cellulitic microorganisms. So, when they are applied to soils, they colonize the rhizosphere or the interior of the plants and promotes growth by increasing the supply of availability of primary nutrients to the host plants. So, they have the advantages, means the biofertilizer, they help in establishing and the growth of the crop plants are also the large trees. They enhance biomass production and grain yield by 10 to 20, because these are we are using the organisms like the nitrogen fixing organisms, phosphate solubilizings and the cellulitic microorganisms are there in biofertilizer. So, they help in the nutrient release pattern from the soil. So, they help in increasing the available nutrients, because there soil may be high nitrogen, but there may be less available. Similarly, phosphorus also, more phosphorus in many soils they are rich in phosphorus. If you go for available phosphorus are very low because of the less microbial populations. They help in the releasing the total converting total phosphorus to mineralizable phosphorus. So, they are useful for in sustainable agriculture. They are suitable. They are most take part in organic farming. They play an important role in agroforestry or the silvipastoral systems. So, there are different type of biofertilizer. We can say the symbiotic and non-symbiotic or the asymbiotic N fixation. So, symbiotic biofertilizer, these are the rhizobium and the mycorrhiza. So, rhizobium it colonizes the roots of specific legumes to form tumors like growth called the root nodules, to form the like the root nodules, and the rhizobium legume, the association, symbiotic association with the legume plants, they fix the atmospheric nitrogen, the nitrogen converted to ammonia, and the fixation can be up to 100 kg or even 300 kg nitrogen per hectare from one crop seasons, depending upon the rhizobium and the legume association. Mycorrhiza also, mycorrhiza are the symbiotic association of fungi with the roots of the large trees, vascular plants. They can have the, they can solubilize the phosphorus availability for the crops mycorrhiza, vesicular arbuscular mycorrhiza. Then asymbiotic, the free living bacteria. So, they do not depend upon the host plants for their the food. So, so these are the they can live in the free environments, and they can add the significant amount of nitrogen into the soil. So, they grow on decomposing soil organic matter and produce nitrogen compounds for their growth and the developments, and they leave behind the significant amount of nitrogen in the soil. So, those are free living, the azotobacter, azospirillum, clostridium also, blue green algae and azula, because those free living microbes, they are grown, they are used for the specially cereal crops, our rice or the wheat, those crops who use this free living bacteria, so that they can help in fixation of the atmospheric nitrogen. See the biopesticides. So, these are the biopesticides. As you see, the are natural plant products that belong to the so called secondary metabolite, because see we will discuss the how the pesticide formations, how you can make pesticide from the natural plant origins. So, these are the which includes the thousands of alkaloids, terpenoids, phenolics and minor secondary chemicals. So, they are used for the manufacture of the biopesticides. Also use the materials like the cow dung, cow urine also for making the biopesticides. So, they can the botanical insecticides are ecological and environmental safer, like some examples like nicotine, pyrethrum, retinone, subelan and quassia. So, these are the compounds, they are present in the plants and they act against the pest and diseases. The thing that we want to focus here. So, these are the some of the components of this organic farmings. The question at the end I want to say why organic farming is say that organic farming is a better quality, the food quality of organic produce, they are the better as compared to chemical produce. If you see the nutrient release pattern of the soils or nutrient uptake pattern from the soil, if you see this one, whether you apply the organic fertilizers or this chemical fertilizer. Suppose you take the example of the nitrogen, the form of nitrogen taken of the crops, either the ammonium form or nitrate form. Most of the crops they do prefer to have the nitrate form, ammonium form only by rice. So, many crop plants they do take the nitrate form. So, you apply your organic fertilizer that is converted to, after the mineralization process, it is converted to nitrate. If you apply the urea, that is a chemical fertilizers. So, after hydrolysis and nitrification, this is also converted to nitrate. So, the nitrate is the form of nutrients that is taken up by the crops. It can come from the organic source, it can come from the non-organic. So, this is one the you can say as inorganic or non-organic or chemical. The question is whether a plant takes nitrate from the soil, whether you apply organic fertilizer or the inorganic fertilizer. Then how does the quality of the organic produce are better as compared to chemical produce? So, the see if you go for the yield improvement, for the production improvement, nitrogen has a major role. If you think of the quality of the crops, like your secondary metabolites, we can say one is the antioxidants like ascorbic acids or the phenolic acids we can say. So, they come so what are the elements responsible, the secondary metabolites formations in the plant body? Of course, the micronutrients play some major roles for the formation of secondary metabolites or the quality of products. So, in addition to that, there is another mechanism which is responsible for increasing the quality of the production, that is a called as nutrient release pattern. In case of chemical fertilizer, there is instant release of nutrient and we are applying in specific intervals, regular intervals, so that the crop gets nutrients. Suppose rice crops, we apply 3 splits of nitrogen at critical growth stages. So, plant gets nutrients at the time of requirement, so gives a good productions. So, plant does not go for any stress, does not suffer from any stress. But the same rice crop, if you use the inorganic fertilizers like compost, usually you apply compost as a basal one time, but however you have seen that we can apply split doses too. But think that for the organic fertilizers like compost, so nutrient release pattern is very slow as compared to inorganic urea. So, it may not meet the requirement of the crops, exact requirement crops at the critical stages. When the organic fertilizer is not able to meet the requirement of the crops at the critical stages, the plant goes under stress. So, the stress physiology, when the plant goes under stress due to deficit of nutrients, because of the stress, so there is more formation of secondary metabolites, which does not happen in case of inorganic fertilizers. So, like the phenolic compounds, the secondary metabolites, that is phenolic compounds formations. So, these are higher in case of the organic farming. If you are going for the organic way of input management, the yield may be slightly lower, but the quality is better because there are the phenolic compounds or the polyphenols formations are higher in case of the organic nutrient managements as the plant goes under stress. So, there is secondary metabolites that leads to quality, the better quality of the productions. As you see the antioxidants or the ascorbic acids, many fruits, vegetables, cereal crops, they have the vitamins or the minerals. So, those are higher in organic products. So, so that is why the the products of organic farming. So, they are the more in second. So, if you go for the tomato so there are different lycopene is content is higher if you grow tomato organically as compared to inorganic or the chemical farming. So, lycopene formations or the ascorbic acids in case of the corn or the polyphenols in case of the tea. So, those things organic tea has the higher polyphenol contents as compared to conventional tea. So, that way the organic farming or the produce from the organic way of management has a better quality, having higher secondary metabolites. So, that does because having polyphenols, if you take the more polyphenols, they have anti-aging effects, and also they do not allow the formation of free radicals in the plant in the human body, because in the human body there is formation of free radicals either due to stress or the food habit, but taking the regular antioxidants they can neutralize the formation of free radicals, and free radicals mainly they cause cell damage and cancer. So, those chronic disease can be avoided if you take the regular antioxidants. The body also secretes some antioxidants, but they may not be enough. We have to take natural antioxidants, and if you take the organic foods, they are rich in antioxidants as compared to your the chemical foods. So, so this organic farming as you say we can in case of the organic farming we can have the better produce and the better quality of the crops and with the better environment. Thank you all. Yeah.